Well, as we enter our Pac-12 season, our opponent Colorado, when you look at them on tape, very good defense. Don't allow a lot of points. The last game they played, ball got turned over a bit and put their defense in some bad situations, but they're very sound. They don't give up a lot of points. Offensively, they have a talented group of wide receivers and some running backs. Quarterback is similar to the guy we just faced. He's got a good arm and can make a lot of plays with his legs. So they're a football team that has some talent. They're big up front on their offensive line. Defensively, they're long. They've got a really good secondary play, a lot of man-to-man, a lot of press coverage. So that's going to be a test for us in the passing game. Let's try to get some guys open, but they play very physical. They're a very physical football team, so we got our work cut out for them. As you guys know, the Pac-12 is one of those conferences that it just seems like when we get into conference play, anything can happen. And I think when we have 9 games left, they're all Pac-12 games, so that's going to kind of dictate what type of team we are going forward. And that's where I think everyone's at right now when you think about the Pac-12. It's very interesting, to say the least. So our schedule is right now is we don't have a win or a loss in Pac-12, and the season starts this Saturday. So we're excited about our opportunity to play at home again, and hopefully we can clean up some of our miscues that we had our last outing against BYU. We had a good talk with the team. I met with the team captain, so we'll see where it goes from there.
Hi, Herm Edwards, Devil's Digest. I know that after the UNLV game, you were disappointed in the passing game, and against BYU, maybe somewhat a bag of mixed goods with interceptions, but as far as the numbers that Jaden put up, definitely better than the first 2 games. Do you feel it's some kind of foundation block you can build on for Colorado and the rest of the Pac-12 schedule?
I would hope so, because you're going to need some explosive plays, and they can't all come from the running game or from Jaden with his legs, right? I mean, you need some explosive passes. BYU, we hit one, and then it got called back. So we hit a few, but you can't get them called back. And I think that's how you got to move the ball at times. You got to hit some big explosive plays. We know we can have some explosive runs, but we need some explosive plays in the pass game. That always helps you and gets the offense excited as well.
Chris Cartman, DevilsDigest. Herm, back here, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, after rewatching the game, did you have any additional perspective on the operational issues with your offense? And in particular, Jaden was using the wristband, which I don't know if that contributed to a couple of the times when your quarterback or running back went the wrong direction. Well,
we had a long talk with the offensive staffs. I won't be able to tell you exactly what was talked about, but I'm pretty sure we have that fixed. We have that solved. That should never be an issue again for us going forward, right? I mean, it shouldn't be. And so I think we're all on the same page of what needs to transpire and take place. When you look at our football team, to play a game like that against a good opponent, it's going to be very difficult to win. When you turn the ball over and you put yourself in bad position numerous times due to your own miscues, right? And that can't be a part of it. Hopefully it's a good learning lesson for us, because generally, if you're a good football team, you're going to average maybe 4 to 5 fouls a game. Last year we were that. Since I've been here, we've been that. Now that number is catastrophic, and you can't survive playing football like that, good football. And we feel like we have a pretty good football team here, but we can't win games when you play like that. It's very difficult.
Coach Michael Carasanito, believe in Pac-12 football. Do you feel with your experience, to piggyback off that you said 0-0 going into Pac-12 play, but after a game like this, what's your experience with teaching players not to obviously learn from it, but not dwell on it? I mean, you have experience in that. It's hard not to dwell on when a performance like that happens, especially with mistakes.
Well, it's us. It was really us, right? We played against us. We put ourselves in bad position, offensively and defensively. We gave them yards that weren't earned by them making a play. It was by us misfiring or making a silly penalty, right? And those are those hidden yards that add up on you. You know, when you play a good team and you give them another possession when you should be off the field, or you give them 15 more yards, it contributes to all that. So I just think that we've got enough guys that have been here. You know, we had this happen before. We started out 2-0 before, and then we lost a game, and we found our way, and you know, and it's just, that's football. How do you react to it? I think that's the whole key. And we have enough guys that have been here in this program long enough that we've gotten also some good starts, and we lost a game, and we found our way back. And that's what you got to do now. And I think guys are excited. It's Pac-12 play now, and all these games are very, very important.
Herm, it appeared that Travismores hurt his knee in that game.
He's out. He's done.
For the year?
Yes. So you can report that. And we'll talk about some other stuff a little later off camera with everybody in here.
Okay.
And I think it's very important going forward.
And are Tamarcus Davis, Trainham, are they moving towards maybe being ready this week?
All likelihood, that's the hopeful thought, yeah. I mean, they're a lot better than they were, and that kind of looks like we're headed that way.
Herm, you were talking about having a good talk with the team captains. I know that's not like totally unusual for you to do that, but I can't remember. Do you guys do that on a weekly basis, or was that more of a we need to have a talk?
When necessary. I've done that numerous times during camp, during the off season. So I do it. You know, I pick my spots when it's needed, when I want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and that we're all understanding each other. That's probably the most important thing. Communication, I think, in life and in football and everything else is very important. Everyone needs to be on the same page.
Herm right here. Ever since the end of last year, it seems like the talk going into the season has been about the experience group that you guys have coming back. So does it surprise you that at least through 3 games, the identity of this team with such an experienced group has been one that's penalty ridden?
I don't know. I've done this long enough in my lifetime, nothing surprises me. It's just when it happens, what do you do to prevent it from continue to happen? And I think that's what we got to do, and we got to take that upon ourselves. But you're right. You would assume that, you know, that veteran guys would play a little bit more calmer, and for some reason they have not done that. And I think it's forcing things, trying to force things and make things happen, you know, rather than just. There has to be a quiet peace in you when you play football. It's a competitive, violent sport within the framework of the rules, and you always got to understand that. You got to maintain that peace about yourself. You can't get outside of that, because when you get outside of that, that's when bad things occur.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, how important is it to win and win looking better than you've been in the past, just from a confidence standpoint for your team?
Yeah, you know, I've had some really good wins, and then I've had some bad wins where it didn't look real good, but it looks good in the win column. And I just think anytime you can win a football game, it's important. Now, you would like to play with a certain standard of how you play, right? I mean, that's the dream of any coach. You play at a certain level, and you make teams either match that, and if they don't, then obviously your chances of winning go up. And we've been so up and down, you know, that's the inconsistency of it all. And yeah, and you'd love for everything to go right. Special teams, offense, defense. That is your dream as a coach. Everything's functioning together, and you feel good about that, right? But then all it takes is a loss, and then you're searching for something else. That's what's so great about the game. You know, when you go through these peaks and valleys, you got to figure out how to get back to the peaks. And we're in a little bit of a slump. We lost a game against a good football team, but the way we lost, that's what bothers. That's what bothers all of us. It bothers me a lot. The fact that we didn't give ourselves a really good chance. I'm not taking anything away from BYU. I think BYU is an excellent coach football team. You know, and they play hard and all that. And they did some things, but we did some things to ourselves that we cannot continue to play like that, because it's going to be very difficult to win if we do.
Hi, Herm. Ray Belcora, Inferno Intel. Regarding the penalties, is that something you think is solved more in the film room, or something where you line up on the practice field and have to practice the execution?
Well, that's just, we have officials that practice, it's focus. It's just flat focus. And keeping a calmness about yourself. When you commit penalties, you're either a step behind or your emotions get to you, and you do something out of just a snap second, and then all of a sudden it's a foul. And when you do that, it hurts the team. And when it's compounded, as many fouls that we collected, it's very difficult to get out of that situation. You going forward, then you knock yourself back. I mean, it's just too hard. Football's too hard to do that.
Doug Haller, The Athletic. Herm, when you lost the 3 assistants before the season, you elevated support staffers into those roles, which kind of maybe did that strain the rest of the staff? I mean, being down 3 support staffers
Well,
now?
I think this, it puts people in a different position, and you just have to adjust. And I think our staff has done a really good job of adjusting, to be quite honest. Obviously, having a voice in that room where before they did not have the voice, they weren't coaching the players per se. Now that has become part of it, and we've done it now for, I don't know how long it's been, a month and a half, probably somewhere right around there. And we've gotten to some games to do that, but that's just, that's where we're at, and we don't even dwell on it. That's in the past. We've moved on. We're coaching football. We're in the groove of our staff coming together, meeting and coaching, and that's kind of where we're at.
Coach, after the game, a couple players, namely Rashad White and Jordan Clark as well, tweeted out that the loss was more on them, on the playing, not on the coaching. Is it reassuring that leadership is in your locker room?
Well, I think the players that have been here in the program, we all hold each other accountable. And we're all involved in a loss, just like we're all involved in a win. It's the coaches, it's the players, it's everybody. It's never one person. Now, I think players that do that, those are the kind of guys you want in your program, because they understand, the film doesn't lie. A coach can't make a play, a good play or a bad play. A coach makes his decisions, and either you make a good decision or a bad decision. And sometimes you might put a player in a position where you wish you could have made a better call. And I've always said, that's when the player bails the coach out, right? So there's this trust factor between coach and player. And when you have that trust factor, players speak up. They're not afraid to speak up and say things like, hey, we got to fix it too. But it's a common thread with coaching players when you have a team that's together, and this team is together. It won't shatter, it won't point fingers. We don't do that around here. We've never done that around here. I've never blamed a player for a loss in the history of me coaching. I don't do that. That's not my personality. We lost together as a team, and we got to fix it now. And there's some things we can fix. We need to play a clean game. That's next on the horizon. Can we play a clean football game? Just play clean. Don't turn the ball over. Don't get a bunch of penalties. Just play a clean game and see what it looks like. And we might lose. Not saying you're going to win if you play a clean game, but at least you walk out of the ball yard saying, hey, look, we didn't beat ourselves. We didn't give them extra opportunities. That's what you want. And that's what players want. That's what coaches want. That's what you strive for. This game is about perfection. You're always trying to be perfect. And that's what you always chase. And that's just part of the narrative when you coach and play football.
Herm, what have you sensed from the players, and maybe your captains especially when you saw them?
That they're disappointed. They're disappointed. You guys have watched this team play now for 4 years. The one thing I will say, this team never has not played hard. They play physical, which is not playing smart. right? Since we've been here, this team always competes. It leaves everything they have on the grass. They don't ever leave the field and go, hey man, we didn't, no. I never worry about that. That's the least of my worries as a head coach, of them playing hard, playing physical, competing. We didn't play smart. And we gotta get that fixed. We have to get that fixed. We just need to play smart. And when you do that, you got a chance.
Anyone else?
Coach, Prince James Story, Cronkite News. My question is concerning with the hire at USC with Dante Williams, and now we're seeing in the Pac-12 there's a total like 5 African-American coaches leading these teams. Can you just talk about how, like, through your years of coaching and the increase of black coaches in college football and what that means for the next generation?
I think that it's always uplifting when you see that to younger coaches that aspire to be coordinators and head coaches. Anytime you see somebody that gets an opportunity like that, it gives you energy, right? It just gives people energy. I would hope one day, I'll probably be long gone, I'll be with my grandkids watching football games, that we don't have to talk about this. It's not like, oh, guess what happened? It's not a conversation anymore, right? But I think it has to be a conversation when it happens to bring some light onto it. And, that's kind of where we're at. And that's just the history of this game when you go back and look at it. And I've been involved in it long time. And it's been a long road for a lot of coaches that never got opportunities. And I think anytime you get an opportunity, you got to realize that you're standing on somebody else's shoulders. And that hopefully if you're in position to give a hand up, to elevate guys in positions where they can be coordinators and head coaches, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for sports, not just football, just sports in general. Women, men, whatever it may be. Just to elevate people, give people opportunities. I think that's what sports is all about. Sports is a rainbow of all kind of people. Players, when it comes to the athletes. On the other side of it, we're still a little bit behind when it comes to the coaching part of it and the management part of it and the people that sit in the executive seats that make decisions. We're still a little bit behind. And hopefully, like as I said, when I'm sitting around with my grandkids, with my daughters, you guys won't be asking questions about that. It'll just be, this is what it is. This is what it looks like, right? And that's what our world looks like. So that's what I'm hopeful for, to be quite honest.
Coach, can you give us updates on some of the other players? I think Chase had his bell rung.
Yeah,
Shannon Foreman limped off a little bit.
He was up in the meeting. I saw him today. He feels okay. Who did you ask?
Shannon Foreman, didn't he limp off a
Yes,
little bit?
Shannon, he's okay. He's walking around, but he should be fine as well. Yeah, I think both those guys are okay. It's a physical game, and that's, I think coming up now, we got 9 physical football games in a row. Everybody kind of beats up on everybody, and you anticipate that, going into Pac-12 play.